Hello and welcome to another episode of the Vital MX post-race show. Round 14 of 2025 Monster Energy AMA Supercross has been and gone. East Rutherford, the 450 title fight is alive and well, as is 250 SX East. So a lot to get into, and this is a very special edition, and we've been able to make this special because of the support from our loyal sponsors, of course, Decal Works, Yamaha Motor USA, Yoshimura, MotorX, and Fox Racing, all loyal supporters of this podcast. I'm your host, Lewis Phillips, as per usual, and joining me is special guest. Well, not to hype it up too much, of course, I wanted it to be Chase Sexton, and that wasn't possible. And then I wanted it to be Jeffrey Hurlings, and that also wasn't possible because they're racing this weekend, which also rules out Sewer and Watson and many other people. So actually,
they're not racing today.
We just ended up with guest, because special guest is a bit much. I dove deep into my contacts, scraped the bottom of the friendship barrel, and we've ended up with Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing's Max Anstie. Hello, Max. How are you?
Hi, mate. Well, I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me on. You know, I like being the backup option there. Although I have to question it because Switzerland they're not racing until tomorrow, so they've actually had the day off today. So technically, you could have had all your other European mates on, but you know, this one pulled through. Did
you see that Hurlings is riding today?
No.
Yeah, he's riding.
Doesn't surprise me then.
Yes, he's found a track and is doing motos for some reason.
I saw that Fevra cycled for 3 hours.
Yeah, that also seems a little bit much.
I thought that was a bit keen. I mean, I saw the heart rate was low in on his Instagram story. It's only like 115, but I mean, what's his name? Strybos looked like he was hanging. So 3 hours on a bike ride in between moto days, I would think seems a bit much, but it I don't know. They like to play mind games. Jeffrey does it all the time, and I mean, Jeffrey will use it as a recovery ride in the week and in between the days, which he does all the time. But yeah, I don't know. It is mental. A mental game.
Yeah, mental is an English word for crazy if you're American listening to this, because I don't think they understand when you say it's mental. But yes, okay, I could have had a GP rider, but
they probably didn't watch last night either.
I couldn't have Chase Sexton, and you are no Chase Sexton, as we'll get into, the 450 winner. But of course, you are a Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing rider, so you are presented to us by Yamaha Motor USA. So thanks to Yamaha for not only bringing us Max Anstie, but also bringing you a bike that gave you the Tampa main event victory.
That's it.
And the red plate for a little while, and some whole shots and Yamaha.
Yeah.
What more can you say?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. For 5 minutes until I decided to jump off and break my leg. But,
yeah, well, it's all it all led you to this moment where you're doing this with me, which is it's basically the highlight of your life.
Exactly.
Let's start with East Rutherford, because I think you can provide some interesting insight into this. Day race, free practice was 8 a.m. How much does that mess with your head as a rider, just having your schedule thrown out the window? Times you eat, times you nap, time you go to bed the night before, you got to wake up earlier, obviously. How much of a nightmare is that for a rider generally, but especially a rider who maybe is a little bit OCD, which I don't actually know how OCD you are.
I used to be worse. It was actually funny. I was looking back through my notes on like 2021 Supercross. I had like every minute scheduled, like even when I could chill, when I could talk to the team. Like
you had it written down as like 1:21 p.m. like that specific.
Yeah, literally. Like I can get my phone up. I mean, we're not talking about me on this podcast.
No, we literally do not care about you one bit.
But I mean, we've done it enough. Like everyone's done it enough now. You know, Detroit was the second round, was the day race. It's kind of nice because it gets finished up a lot earlier, and mains sometimes in the day it depends when it's light. It is weird when it's light, but it still feels like a long day, obviously, a long drag that day. But yeah, 8 a.m. free practice is early. but I mean, we ride and train pretty early anyway. I don't know. It swings and roundabouts. The outdoor schedule is similar to that. So it's sort of, you kind of just feel like you're outdoors but racing Supercross. I don't think it will throw everyone off really, because the distance between each session is the same. So the program works, the schedule works. You just have to move everything, forward. And all right, you eat dinner after the race, which is kind of nice, instead of trying to force something down in between last quali 2 and heat race. But yeah, I don't know.
Oh, this was the first week we've had a normal schedule as well in a couple of weeks. What do you think about having free practice sessions? Because basically every single rider hates having the free practice, thinks it's too much riding, too much practice, and 2 qualifying sessions are all that's needed, and then we can go racing. Agreed?
Something I just thought of. Yeah, well, my brain was going in a little slightly different direction. Okay. I remember Cooper Webb saying one time that he turns on at like 9 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night. It was like he's a nighttime guy. Maybe mentally he prefers the night races. I don't know, but I remember hearing that somewhere. It was like when the lights come on at night, it's like it's go time. Which it is different. When you ride to the stadium and it's daylight, it feels different from like when you ride into a stadium and it's nighttime and you've made it to the main event, you're like, God, I've made it. This is cool. This is Supercross. In the day, it is a little different. So I don't know. I'm just thinking mental edges. Maybe that's like subconsciously something that like he prefers night races over day races. But I don't know. Again, can't speak for him, but I just remember him saying that in one interview somewhere. No, I think going back to your point about the qualifying having too much or not having enough, for someone like Vial, it's great. You need more time. Like I like more time. I'm getting to a point where I probably could do it in less, like 2 sessions is fine. But, I try and do as many press days as I can or things like that. But yeah, I know when you're an older guy, more experienced. I mean, I'm older.
Oh yeah, literally one of the oldest guys in Supercross.
Yeah, but like I remember Anderson and stuff just showing up to Salt Lake City. I think that's more for altitude, but like not bothering doing press day, just showing up and being like within 4 laps, being the fastest or one of the fastest, and yet didn't do press day the day before, so didn't really get to figure the rhythms out. But then the guys get so used to it that I think like those type of guys don't need the time, but yet someone like Vial or the 250 class, I think it is good to have that amount of time because it does settle you in and figure it out a bit more, and you are able to try some stuff and whatever. But I don't know. Again, it's
yeah, but do you not think so? Again, basically every single rider hates free practice. I think it's probably 90% of riders would rather just have 2 qualifying sessions. In East Rutherford, we saw that the whoops got ridiculously chewed up, especially in the main event. Coop even said that in the heat race, they were still fairly prime and fairly skimmable. Having free practice and that extra practice session, do you think it almost draws you into a false sense of security because you're having even more time on a good track? So when you get to the main event, it feels even more out of sorts because you've spent so much time messing around with a bike, doing laps upon laps upon laps on a track that essentially isn't comparable. So you've maybe got more time to fine-tune yourself and the bike for that track, whereas if you've got less practice, you're more just kind of getting stuck into the conditions, whatever it is.
Yeah, but let's say you're in the B group, right?
Well, they're fucked in 450s.
Oh yeah, but let's say you're in the B group, or let's just say I keep going back to Tom Vial because I think it was you that said that like he's recently only just got to a point where he doesn't have to really think about the track.
Yeah, he said that, he said to me on press day that only like the last couple of weeks has he started to turn up at Supercross and not stress out about rhythm sections, what triples, what quads, all of that.
So free practice allows you to get the jumps done when the track's pretty fresh. So if you go out there and, I mean, I guess it's still fresh in time training if you just done away with free practice, but you're a bit more stressed because you've got to put a lap in. Oh, you've got to jump this quad. I think there'd be a few more people clipping stuff and going over the bars in the B or the practices that they're like stressing on the jumps. Because by the main event when it is rutty and stuff, like let's say you jump to 3 in and you like know it. If it starts getting really rutty and you can sort of still do it, you're like, oh yeah, cool. But you wouldn't do it if it was already rutty the first time you went out there.
So then that would be more comparable to the main event.
Yeah, it would. But then I think you'd get people crash in time training more.
Well, I think that's where you've got to wisen up then, haven't you? And be aware of what's... I think that's where someone like Coop is smart of knowing what lies ahead and being like...
The older guys, and like I said, like the older experienced guys, 100%, 450 guys. I mean, I remember watching Joey Savaggi, which I was very impressed with. He came, when we were on Rocky Mountain back in 22, came to 83 compound, where it was back then, didn't even look at the track, literally didn't even look at the track, just rode straight out there and within like 5 laps was jumping everything. And I was like, if it had been me, I'd have been walking the track, figuring it out, looking at all the different rhythms. But there's experience and not having the experience in Supercross. I mean, European GP guys come from having so much practice and then I think it is too much. But then Supercross, I mean, I don't know. I honestly, I'm not either or. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh yeah, they should do less practice. The day is long. The day is very long.
I think that's why a lot of riders prefer not having free practice also.
Yeah, like that is the thing. Like let's say Tampa, you've got track walk at 10 o'clock in the morning. You've got to be there at like 9:30 or something like that, whatever. It's a 12, like you're there from 9:30, then you're racing at 9 o'clock at night, that night, on a 250. If 450, it's 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night, whatever. It's a hell of a long time to be like in that environment. You ride a bit, you have a bit of a break, you do your autograph stuff. It is a long time to stay on. So yeah, that, like at least outdoors, like you said, or a day race, you get there at 8 in the morning, but you're done by like 5 o'clock, and then you can leave and buy some food or get a flight back.
I don't know. I mean, like this weekend, free practice was 8, so you're getting there at 7:30, and then the 450 main finish at 6. That's still like ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
But anyway, the big news. Yeah. So to keep the 450 championship alive, Chase needs to keep on winning, and he ticked another box in East Rutherford, so we're effectively in stalemate because the gap's come down, but so have the number of rounds left. So essentially, we're not really... Chase isn't necessarily gaining ground relative to the number of rounds left, but he's keeping the hopes alive, which is very exciting for all of us, including you now, who has to watch on TV at home and just kind of embrace it. Big win, maybe the biggest win of his career, not only in riding, that was perfect, but also gap, statement, mentally, all of that good stuff. First things first, though, most importantly, you're a rider, and you know how important it is to have have a puzzle pieces in the right place. So, the fact that I went to the Baker's factory this week, how much will Chase have realised that puzzle piece is quite important? And how much credit will he give to me and then now probably enlist my services?
Well,
full-time moving forward.
I mean, I would say, it's like what they say, if it's not broke, don't fix it, or if something's working, just keep doing it. So maybe you need to go back up there again tomorrow.
I think there's a high chance that he maybe notices the pattern of what I did and then now becomes very clingy to my services.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to put myself in the spot of a rider. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm just trying to figure out.
It was very impressive. No, it was very impressive. Obviously, had a good week, and it rolls on to the weekend. It's a long season. Like they're in deep. Like this is a lot of training, a lot of riding, a lot of everything put together, and yeah, obviously he had a good week. You
It's
must
me.
have helped out.
It's all me. No, but seriously, like, I think it was a big mental win more than anything, because after last week, Philadelphia, that's one win. Obviously, he flirted with the edge a little bit by doing the gun to Webb, playing his own game a little bit. Then Webb fired back on the podium, saying he's going to kick his ass this week. Then Webb went fastest in Q1, which isn't very Webb-like, and Webb again was kind of like putting Chase down a little bit. So Chase really needed to respond, not only points-wise, but also, I think, for himself, just to kind of be like, okay, whatever this guy says or does, I am capable. Like, kind of reassure himself maybe a little bit, if he even needed that. Maybe he didn't. But I do feel like this is a mental swing for Chase.
Yeah, it was very good. I mean, start was executed.
But I'll tell you, before you go on, the start, I was sat like above the start. I don't know, but it certainly looked like he timed the gate, because he went and I was like, oh, fuck, he's going to hit the gate. And then he just fucking came out.
Really?
I don't know. I haven't spoken to him properly. But from my vantage point, and I guess you wouldn't tell from TV because you're looking at it straight on, I guess, or whatever. Yeah. But it certainly looked like he just went. And maybe he saw it flinch, I don't know. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, but McElrath next to him got a really good start. He was just pushed out. I felt like, I don't know why Coop went to the right of him. Maybe it was the ruts, because I thought on that start, because it opened up, everyone was getting pushed out. Like, you almost wanted to be inside, tuck around the inside, but
you mean it opened up as in the first turn was wider and not like sharp 180?
Yeah, because it went tight, and then, like in qualifying, everyone went off the track.
Yeah,
because the inside guys can easily push the outside guys out on that type of start. It was like kind of a double turn. So yeah, I felt like he executed the start very well, and obviously, and had the pressure from Coop early on. His whoops were obviously like amazing, and that rhythm section going on off of that table 3, because we were texting. I know Coop went over 2-2.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he only did that in the main event, clean.
Yes, but I watched someone go slightly further back. A guy went on
face double
roll off double.
Yeah,
and someone went scrub table single 3, and the scrub table single 3, I think it was AP, was faster.
You think?
Than he passed him by the end of the turn. Into the turn.
Oh, whoever he was battling with did the
I'm pretty sure it was AP, and he passed him doing that. And I was like, so I think the line was, it'd be interesting to see the segments, to see if Cooper Webb was faster through that segment.
The segments, Max.
So was it faster going on off 3, or was it faster going over 2-2?
Well, Webb was the fastest in the segment, but literally, Webb was the fastest with 6.624, and then Chase was 6.647. So, like, basically you're splitting hairs. Who really cares? That's not really doing anything. And then even J.
Maybe it was more consistent.
J. Coop was doing the AP line of scrub, triple?
Table single, whatever.
Yeah.
Triple
and even he was 6.847, so only 0.2, which I guess that's a little bigger.
Okay, so I think if you went, because Coop got over that tabletop, obviously maybe for the first 5-6 laps, clean.
Yeah.
Then it was equal, but I feel like Chase's line was every lap. He was just going on, back, off, 3. Going over 2-2 was great, but when you started landing, rolling off, going double, it was, 1, using a lot of energy, and 2, wasn't obviously faster. Like, if you couldn't get over it, then it wasn't faster. But again, hard to know and figure that out on the fly. But
in qualifying, Chase, Kenny, I think all of the top guys were doing on the table and then like not rolling off of it, but facing into the next single double. I feel like that was the quickest line.
Effort.
I think it was quickest.
Yeah, no.
I think it would have been. I mean, you probably couldn't do it in the main because I'd imagine the top of the table was so chewed up that because I did see, when would it have been? I think it may be in their last qualifying. Pretty much Chase did it, Kenny did it. They would land on the top of the table, and then in the process of coming off, they would almost lean to the left and get off balance. So I would imagine the top of the table was so chewed up that you couldn't land with such force and such speed, slow down enough, to and remain poised. So I'd imagine it was just hard to nail.
That's what Coop was doing after. So basically, Coop was trying to get over the table. He was getting over. Then the turn blew out, and then he wasn't. He was going on instead of going off, which Chase was doing on the right. So in practice, they weren't doing that. It must have been nicer on the right side because a few of them were going on-off on the right side.
Yeah.
But on the left, they would go middle left, land heavy, slam on the brake, double. Yeah. But Barsha nearly went over the top of it, clipped it. Like it was a bit hairy because you were coming from high, stopping, and then it was obviously grabby in there. That line was the slowest line out of all of them because that line was what I said that AP passed someone doing that. So AP went scrub table single 3 on the right, and someone else went, I'm pretty sure it was AP, went on, brake, and he got past going into the turn. So I was like, when I saw that, I was thinking, Chase's way going 3 on, off 3 was consistent and the fastest. Obviously, going over Coop's line, 2-2 was equal, or maybe a hair faster. But the difficulty of doing that, and especially when the turn blew out, like it was keeping him there for the first few laps.
Yeah.
But it was obviously a lot of effort, and it was really hard to get up and over. But again, that was a weird section because when did we ever see something like that? I did think, and I don't know why anyone didn't do this. I mean, obviously there must have been a reason. But Deegan had this track at STF, that whole section.
What, you mean East Rutherford replica?
Yeah, he had that basically, that whole layout. A couple of little things, slightly different. But on his layout, half of that was like a lower single and half of it was a big single. But we would go scrub, table over 2, double into the turn. So I was thinking, why didn't anyone go like whoops? Like almost inside, like maybe make a little rut, roll, table over 2, double into turn.
Well, you're making me feel good now because in practice, I was up in the press box with JB and JT and lots of J's. And I said, surely I think it would be possible and quicker to do that, but I couldn't figure out how, because essentially you would need to roll the first single to get the power to the ground to make the quad. And I couldn't make sense in my head how you would basically not lose time because obviously you're doing Chase's line, Kenny's line, Coop's line, you're carrying so much speed around that corner that I felt like you'd lose too much time in the turn where it wouldn't
That line
offset.
was the best line to do. What they were doing was the best. But I thought for the 250s, going like single into the thing, table single, triple, they were going so high off that. Whereas if you couldn't go on to the table, although I saw Volan do it, so I do think they could have got onto the table. If they didn't go onto the table, maybe and they were jumping through the whoop section before. So it wasn't like they were blitzing through the whoops and just going, bah, 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 like flat out into the turn. Maybe it would have been something to look at, but maybe they would have thinking, maybe the face on that table was way too steep. I wasn't there, and you'd have gone to the moon, and but getting out of the ruts, I don't know. Could have been a thing, maybe not.
No one did this line, so obviously it wasn't possible. But the quickest way, and the way for Webb to make his line even more dominant, would have been to go over the table, triple single, but no one even came close to that, so that obviously wouldn't have been possible.
Yeah, I think the ruts, and also they almost needed to be going single into that next turn might have messed him up for 3 and out, because going double was a bit nicer to land, take your time, but to get that 3, because that 3 was quite big, and he was still getting it right to the end of the moto, but yet Chase was he ended up just going 2, 3, which they probably weren't much difference, but the 3-2 was a bit more racy and like it looked good to do. Well, they were trying to do that early on.
I would imagine
maybe that's why.
I feel like Webb going over the table was also a bit of mental relief because he was losing so much time to Chase in the second set of whoops. But I'd imagine in his head that was him like bridging that gap and being like, okay, I know I'm losing here, but I'll keep doing this, and then I can find peace because I'm gaining. Back. But ultimately,
it's hard. That's hard, and it's a long moto. Like, I mean, I remember looking up at the clock, like obviously watching it and thinking, God, Chase is on fire. There's still like 8 minutes to go. It's like it's a lot of laps, and it's hard to if there's something that's like you're on the limit and you can just do it. It's so hard to keep doing that, and then when you always use so much energy trying to do it that your arms get tight. You're like thinking about it the whole lap. Then the rest of your lap gets messed up. But you don't really know the other rhythm, or you don't like. It's like going from skimming to jumping the whoops. Like you're hang on for dear life trying to do the one way, and then like it's so hard to switch because it takes you a few laps. And if your arm's already tight, you're like you then make it worse by. It's hard. It's a tough game, especially in those kind of situations. So. Yeah, Chase did very well.
Some interesting Chase stats that the listeners may find interesting. He's now tied his Honda win total with KTM. He's had 7 450 wins on Honda, 7 on KTM. He got there 13 starts quicker on KTM. So everyone who says Chase on a KTM isn't as good as Chase on a Honda, that is something. Although, truth be told, Chase on a KTM has been the best Chase Sexton the whole time, whereas on a Honda he was a rookie and learning, so it's not technically accurate, but it still means something. This was the 70th win for KTM in the 450 class. They're now only 6 behind Suzuki, so that's also something worth interesting. How about this as well, and you may find this interesting, Max. Best laps in the main event. Chase Sexton, 51.254. Cooper Webb, 52.003. So Coop's best lap was 0.8 slower than Chase's best lap. Then even more surprising, the next fastest rider, AP, best lap 53.005. So basically an exact second slower than Coop and 1.8 seconds slower than Chase's best lap. So that basically tells you all you need to know about how good Chase Sexton was in the East Rutherford main event. And I'm sure, Max,
impressive.
If, like me, you probably looked at Chase Sexton and you thought to yourself, wow, what a fucking guy. I don't know what to be most impressed with. The style, the speed, the lines, the technique. What you were most impressed with would have been the Decal Works graphics because they make Chase Sexton shine so bright. And the listeners can also use the same graphics as Chase Sexton by heading to decalmx.com, and it may make them sparkle like the number 4.
That was very smooth.
I am very good
smooth.
at.
I wonder if you use that on the girls when you're out on a date, because that is very that was.
I do try to work Chase Sexton into every date that I go on.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the transition.
Sorry. Yeah, no, okay.
What I was thinking whilst you were saying that was the one thing I thought was, obviously it was good, but like how he managed the race. Obviously, once he got it to 15 seconds, or he got it up to 18 seconds or 20 seconds at one point, and then he managed it. And I know I text you and was like, I wonder if Coop's playing the game of, we all know how much Ricky and everyone else talks about it. When Chase has made mistakes, like swashed the front out or done something silly, it's when he's like almost got no pressure, like he was out in front, like doing his thing. Obviously. And I was like, well, maybe he's playing the game of, if I keep the pressure on, I'm going to keep him focused. Maybe I'll back off and he might slide out or do something like that. But Chase was bulletproof the whole time. And it's funny how no one then talks about that, anymore. No one, the American media and all that is very quick to point out, oh, you're do this, or you've done that, and then when you don't do it, it's not like they say, oh, you actually, you didn't do what you normally do or what you have done in the past. You executed it very well. So I don't know. I thought about that, and maybe that was going through Chase's mind because he did just start jumping the whoops and doing his thing, but he managed it very well and obviously executed it right to the end. So I mean, it's impressive how every championship or every year he's there right until the end, and people go, oh yeah, we slid out here and there at certain points in the year when he was leading or should have taken this, but none of those mistakes are big enough to take him out for races. It's always like, he's fast enough to win. All right, he might crash a few times, but that race this weekend was obviously very well done and executed perfectly.
It's very big of you to say that, Max, when it's so clear that it is just eating you up inside that Chase has replaced you in my life. So it's very nice to see you taking the high road because your jealousy and anger could come through. But well done for being the bigger man in this conversation, Max, because you could have really... Yeah. I was worried that you were just going to try and tear Chase down because you were attacking him for replacing you in my life, but... Well done for being a bigger man. And you know what? You'll find your new Lewis. Just keep looking around. You'll find him. He's out there somewhere. Just when you least expect it, Max, you'll find, and you may even like him more than me.
Greatness recognizes greatness. You know how it is.
Final Chase stat, because we've talked about this for way too long. Although I did have another question that we will get to. This is only the second time in Chase's 450 career that he's won consecutive main events, which is something. Also, I think it also is... evidence of how hard this 450 class is, because even if you look, Coop won consecutive rounds this year, round 6 and round 7, but that was the first time that he'd won consecutive rounds since mid-2021. So it goes to show just how hard it is to win 2 races in a row. Like, maybe we all overlook just how hard this sport is. Maybe you deserve more credit as well. Quickly, before we move on, to quote Cars 3, if I was in Chase's corner, which I am, but I'm not saying this to him, but if I could, similar to the end of Cars 3, when Jackson Storm gets in Cruz Ramirez's head by saying something, and Lightning says, no.
You don't belong here.
Yes. But then Lightning says, no, he didn't get in your head, you got in his head.
Yeah.
That is kind of how I feel the game, that is kind of how I see the games between Chase and Coop. Like, if I'm Chase, I'm almost looking at Coop's comments and saying, like, well, that means he sees me as a threat. Yeah,
I mean, obviously, like, from the outside looking in, I mean, it is obvious they're both unreal, and I've never been in that situation and to that level. And yeah, it's what you dream. I mean, all right, I had the red plate at one point, and it was like, all right, I'm living the dream. To be in a championship fight and a championship hunt, and it is one-on-one. Whereas I guess obviously I can only compare it to me in this year, and obviously we only did a few rounds, but it wasn't really one-on-one. Now you can see the East Coast classes, you know, RJ, Tom, Seth, Levi, Kitchen at one point, and myself. Like it was, and Hymus, you know. I'm still probably forgetting people. But yeah, it is obviously just coming down to those two.
Answer this. In a word, answer this. Would you rather be in Coop's situation with the points advantage, or would you rather be in Chase's situation where it's more like, fuck it, I've just got to send it, and... If you
look at what hat I'm wearing, I have to go with Coop.
No, I'm not saying who will win. I'm saying is there actually an advantage to being in Chase's position where it's like, fuck it, because Coop to a degree, Coop has to be conservative, or doesn't have to be conservative, but your subconscious would tell you to be conservative. I think you'd have to battle that.
Having a points lead is always going to be better.
Okay.
I feel like, and I also feel like,
but Coop does have a game. Coop does also have a internal struggle with his position.
But well, I saw a stat the other day on the TV that was like Coop's won X amount of races, like 15 races or 12 races, or however many it is, under 1 second. Like,
yeah, I think 12.
That is is hard. Also, the championships that he's won, I mean, I have to go back and rewatch them, but I feel like tightness and pressure in that situation of like, did my thing just do a thumbs up?
Yeah, it's fine.
I was like, what is going on? But I feel like that pressure, Coop's used to it. Coop lives for it. Coop is Coop, like,
basically,
he's very, very comfortable.
Basically, other rider, what I said, if it was any other rider other than Coop, it would carry more weight. But because it's Coop, it doesn't really mean anything. But any other rider, it makes sense. It's actually going to make him better.
Yeah. I feel like if Coop had a bigger advantage, he might relax and then have a few bad races. But like, he rode like qualifying. He was really, really good. Obviously, yesterday I was watching. I called my mechanic and I was like, mate, he looked unreal. Like, looked really, really good. On a track that I thought, technically I didn't think the whoops were jumpable in practice, and he was making it work. Still went fast. It's like really aggressive. I feel like when the pressure's on, he does do very well. I feel like the advantage of having a little points gap is, okay, so Chase has got to win outright.
Yeah.
But let's say Cooper, let's say it rains this weekend.
Okay,
which
well,
looks like it might.
This was going to be my question. And we have to move on because we've talked about Chase and Coop for so long. So last thing, as of now, and it's obviously almost a week away, so it can all change, Friday and Saturday looks horrendous for rain.
Better to have a points gap, because if something happens, Chase wins and it's tied, or even he's 3 points down after this weekend, you're still there. You can still have that one and then take it into the last two.
But okay, that does make sense. But I do think there's some credit to the other side of that, where if you're Coop going into a mud race, you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're Chase, you're like, I send it, and you know what? I didn't have it. If it goes wrong and the bike blows up, or I drown in a puddle,
or
I never had it anyway.
Or you go, oh fuck! I'm almost getting this now.
Now it's okay. Now I agree. Now it's changing for Chase.
Right, I can win this. I can win out now. I can win these next two. I think. Denver, Salt Lake, more hard pack. He was unreal at Salt Lake last year. I remember watching. He was unreal at Glendale, the last super hard pack one, which arguably could be.
He was also unreal in Detroit, which was quite hard pack.
Yeah, then you also got a Kenny that was really good at those hard pack ones, which if he's he could get in the mix. Like, if he thinks, oh great, oh shit, it's going to be a mudder. Oh fuck, we all know what happened the last mud race. Coop fucking did a minute on me in the last lap or whatever. It's like, both situations are very, very fucking stressful for a championship. Both. It comes down to the start. It comes down to it's really hard. Even for me, like, I was thinking about it, that super muddy race. Like, I'm good in the mud. I would have loved the mud. If I was if I was leading the championship, even going into that one, in hindsight, you'd look and go, oh, just relax, you'll be fine. But it would be so stressful, so hard not to, like, it's like Vial. Vial's he got 22nd. Like, it couldn't have gone any worse. It's just like, don't do that. It's a hard one. It's very hard.
I think as well, a mud race, naturally, everyone would think it would help Chase because he's the one who needs to gain points, and a mud race, anything can happen. But I think now a mud race helps Coop because a mud race basically puts a handbrake on Chase's momentum. Because Chase has all the momentum and all the confidence now, and the rain basically completely wipes that out.
I have to say as well, we have Pittsburgh track at the farm. So I would say either way, Coop's going to go in there feeling like he would always do. I mean, I can't speak for him. He's obviously going to be going in feeling good, but like, we have that track. So whether that's an advantage or not, I don't know. It can be.
Okay.
So yeah.
You don't have to reply to this, so just let me talk about it because I feel like I want to share this. Talking to someone who knows Coop fairly well, they think that from how they know Coop, how the last two races have gone, he will now try to search for something with the bike, which would be new for Coop because he hasn't changed his bike setup since basically round 6 last year. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles this dynamic shift, because the person who I was talking to, who does know Coop very well, said that they're a bit suspect of how this now plays out in the coming days. But you don't reply to that, Max, because you can't allow to talk about that. Anyway, we talked about...
I actually don't know.
No, just... You don't have to talk about that. We talked about Chase and Coop for far too long. So anyway, AP was great again. His 4th podium in 5 races, and he is just the 3rd best rider in the series. Justin Cooper was sick, but gave Coop a good run in the heat race, but he was sick and had nothing in the main event, and that's about that. Ferrandis had his best result of the season and looked actually quite good and moved forward.
Fast in the whoops. He was skimming. He was skimming left side, second set of whoops. I don't know what his whoop segments were.
Look at you. Great observation. In both, so the whoops were 2 separate segments. In both segments, this is actually very interesting. Both whoop segments had the same top 4 in the same order, which was Sexton, Webb, Ferrandis, Barsha.
Yeah. No, Ferrandis looked good. That was helping him.
He's also got a factory transmission now and stuff like that, so maybe that's also giving him a little extra spunk. Malcolm Stewart moved forward from way back to... He was 16th on lap 1, so to go from 16th to 6th, that's very good. He's got a movie coming out.
Couldn't have any more spunk than what you did when you sat on the back of Tracy's bike last week.
Sure I did.
So I had to. Anyway, talking about this movie, what movie are we on about?
Did you not see? Malcolm Stewart's got a movie coming out on ESPN.
That's pretty cool. What, like, about him and his life?
It's made
not
by...
like he's in a movie.
It's not made by, like, motocross people. It's made by a film studio.
That's cool.
And at the moment, I don't know if it's true or not, but there are heavy rumours, as in everyone said this to me, that Malcolm is going to Triumph and potentially taking Rockstar with him, which doesn't seem crazy. It kind of makes sense, and from what I hear, Rockstar were heavily involved in making this ESPN movie happen. I guess Pepsi, which owns Rockstar, kind of were the ones that got a foot in the door at ESPN to make this happen. So it all somewhat makes sense, but also I know that Husky... Malcolm would be top of their list, but as of right now, it's not been confirmed or even decided whether there will be even a Husky or a Gas team. So, watch this space. I also don't know.
You've got to think like Scuba and obviously Bobby Hewitt's not involved anymore.
Jeremy Coker.
Obviously Coker. But I'm just thinking of connections between like Husky and stuff from back in the day. Like
but Malcolm was there after. No, I think Malcolm got there just after Scuba left, the year after, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I don't know then.
So I think anyway, maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, ESPN movie, quite cool. McElrath has taken a massive step forward lately. The confidence from the mud race has done a lot for him, quite clearly. Dean was much better this week, even though he was sick as well as Justin Cooper, so a sickness going around again. Savachi was up there but crashed late, but he has certainly turned a corner. And actually last week, I felt bad because I should have looked into this. He was 5th in Philadelphia, which was his best result since round 15 of 2019. So the 5th last week was actually a massive deal for Savachi. So good for him. Colt Nichols is really frustrated, can't get a start, so can't learn from the riders at the front. But he has gone back to the air fork, which he basically hasn't used since the 250 days. And he said that HRC, Beta, and Suzuki, he's been struggling for hold-up and searching for this specific feeling in the front end, and the air fork has delivered it. And he said that he also was an air fork guy in 250s, so it's actually surprising to me that he didn't try this sooner with either HRC or Beta or Suzuki. Any comment on your feeling, air fork, spring fork, hybrid?
Yeah, it does. It does do that. We're not allowed to run hybrid in 250 class because of the homologation rules. We can run air or spring. Spring is a lot harder to keep the hold up. The air does, the balance feels nicer, but might not turn as well. Sometimes they say the spring fork turns better. That's why some people use air in. Some people, as in myself use air in Supercross and spring on outdoors. But I did struggle in outdoors to start with because I was like feeling like the front was low. So it is a combination. But again, it does depend on who your suspension guys are. I have to say, like my first experience with air fork was with Surge 2017 Surge WP factory Husky in Europe. Was great, loved it. The next year we had spring forks. Anstie wanted us to go to spring forks. They were also really good. Like it does sort of depend who
you weren't
setting them up. I give you.
You weren't overly sensitive to the differences then.
Not then, but I feel like at the time, Surge was like a specialist in the air department. My guy that I had then, and then I can't remember if we had someone else for 2018. Can't fully remember, but it was like that was also very proven. So we love it.
Your 2018 suspension guy was just like, I'm going to get a shout out. And then it's like, oh, I can't. He doesn't even remember my name.
I might have been. Surge was a big part of.
Well, you would have kept Surge, but why would you have lost Surge for 2018? Same team, same setup, same riders. Why would it have changed?
Yeah, no, because there were certain people that got like just put with KTM.
Oh, okay.
I can't fully remember, but there was decisions that were made above my head. Obviously, Anstie was deciding on certain bits and bobs, but it was like I remember I had to go to the spring the next year. The bike did change 2017-18, but anyway, there is obviously big differences, but I do believe, again, I could be wrong, but I do believe it's more of your suspension technician, what they know, not what they know more about, but what their specialist in their area is. Like, if you've got a real air guy and they fully believe in their air, then they'll make it work. If you've got a spring guy that's not that great with the air, then probably isn't going to be best going to the air. Like, certain things like that. But of course, it's individual.
Interesting. This is why it's great to have you here. Finally, 450s. When it rains, it pours, and Justin Barsha just cannot catch a break for the life of him. I can't recall a rider who has had so much bad luck and just shit, I guess, is the best way to put it. It looked like he was going to get a podium or at worst a fourth. What? That crash to me looks far too violent for it to just be hitting a kicker in the whoops. No? Like, that didn't look like... To me, it looked like something went wrong.
Jumping on's like... I've seen some people at the farm that are good at jumping. The whoops. You can...
I wonder who you're talking about.
Yeah. Do the exact same thing, and oh my days, it is not. That is the dangerous part about skimming. Is hard jumping like that, and it's funny because
because you just bottom out in the transition, or what?
No, they get these hard kicks that are So let's say you OJ a little bit the second three, you land and it just goes, and then you're also trying to push through them. And you're in like second gear, probably seconds revved out. If you go to third, it's like too lucky. You've got no you're revved out, but you're like, you need to shift up, but you can't. It's really the whoops, jumping and skimming are like, skimming obviously has its own things. You can get more out of control, but jumping in that situation, especially because they didn't have to slow down. So they weren't. That was the point. There is like they had a straight, then the turn. If there was a turn straight away, he'd have gone like a bit more rap and been all right because he was trying to like and
because he was trying to charge into the straightaway. It
went bar and that's why it kicked him.
Okay,
and it's. I mean, it's easily done. It's not nice. I mean, I've seen that happen. It's hard. That is really tricky. But you get set on your line, and each lap, everyone looked like when they were jumping, they were taking that side. It was getting worse and worse and worse, and the kick just got a little bit too big, and just I don't know if the airbag thing went off right before he hit the ground or not, but I was thinking,
Well, it definitely went off.
I know it'd have been nice if it went off right before he hit the ground.
I don't think that's how it's designed. I don't think it's designed to anticipate crashes.
Well, no, it is. So that it's meant if you have.
Well, no, it employs on impact.
No, yes, but no. It deploys on an abnormal movement. So I'm 99% sure this is what I got told. So it's like with I don't know, but it's supposed to go off. Like, let's say you get like in a weird position, like before you hit the ground. It's meant to go off right before. Because obviously, if you hit the ground, then it goes off. It's not fucking really doing anything, is it? Because you're just hitting the ground, it hurts, and then it goes off like a split second after. It is supposed to go off.
I joked about this. Actually, I joked about this with someone. Not joked because it's not funny, but like, imagine. I don't even know if I should. This is not funny, but imagine like you crash, you're laying in the track. And then, like, for some reason, it deploys late. So you're laying in the track, knocked out, and then it just, like, sends you further down the track, like, because it deploys late. It would be.
I don't think it's that abrupt, but I do think like it could almost be like a snowmobile thing, like where you have like like imagine if you had something attached to your throttle hand, because you never really take that off.
Yeah.
Like. That if your hand comes off, it deploys. That would be next level. And but it is supposed to go. So they've been running like sensors. They run sensors on everything, and it's supposed to like do your movements and forces and things like that. Again, I'm not an Alpine Star guy, but I have been.
Well, you are an Alpine Stars guy.
No, I'm not an Alpine Star like person. Like,
really? You don't work for Alpine Stars?
I don't work for Alpine Star, but I use Alpine Star. Like, I love, obviously, everything about Alpine Star. Boots and chest protectors, great.
Goggles?
But I do... And the goggles, yeah.
And the helmet?
And the helmet. Yeah, you have to remind me what I wear. But what I'm saying is, I don't know the full ins and outs, but I have spoken to our mate, Jeff, and Christian as well about the airbag system, and I'm 99.9% sure that it's supposed to go off in an but like in that situation with Barsha, he was sort of on the bike, not really doing anything abnormal, and then bang, like over the bars. It's not like he got thrown off. Like you remember when Faulkner crashed and landed on his back that time, when he like ejected off the bike and did what, like when he really hurt himself.
Yeah, last year.
To PC when whenever it was, Texas or wherever. That's what it was designed for. Like because he was in the air, that was abnormal.
Yeah.
Abnormal positioning. It would have gone off, then he hit the ground.
Well, yeah, I'd imagine then because it would pick up on the velocity because his body was.
Yes. So Barsha's one was like slow, like but he's still hanging onto the handlebar, so it didn't necessarily look like, because obviously you can't have it too sensitive because you scrub something hard, it fucking go off. You can't so it's
have it too sensitive, Max, and if you're a rider like Chase Sexton, then it would just go off all the time because it would be like, whoa, this is too fast. We need to be safe. It would never go off because it would be like, this is so fucking slow. The airbag would have a day off. No, obviously.
I will get back to the 450 class and I'll race Chase it one day, and then we'll see, won't we?
By that point, I won't even remember your name. Anyway, you did mention 2018, and what did Max Anstie use in 2018 and 2017? 2017, when he won both motos at the Motocross of Nations, he used Motorex. Motorex, known for high-quality engine oils, also has an entire line of clean care and lube products to keep your bike running strong and looking great. Maintenance made easy with race-proven Motorex clean care and lube products. And who else uses Motorex? Chase Sexton. And that's a much better endorsement than Max Anstie in 2017. Because if Chase Sexton was there at Matterley Payton in 2017, there's no way Max Anstie was going 1-1.
Unfortunately, it was...
would have been a slow 2-2 for Max Anstie that day in that case. No, I'm joking. You're right. I'm joking. Too far.
I lapped the Americans that day.
Yeah, well, Chase Sexton wasn't on the team. No, moving on to 250s, where actually Fox Racing won the main event and took control of the 250SX East standings. Bold, untamed, and pushing the boundaries of aesthetic style and design, Fox Racing's new Spring MX graphics, launching with Hello Future, disrupt the status quo and make no apologies for the interruption. Comprised of head-to-toe kits, plus a slew of head-turning men's and women's lifestyle pieces, its spirited graphic, combined with dialed-in fit, comfort, and construction, sends a message loud, clear, and confidently: the future belongs to those brave enough to answer the call. Thank you to Fox Racing for their support of this podcast. And I was talking to Jorge Prado this past weekend, and he was telling me so many great things about Fox Racing. So look at that. Great times indeed. And also, Max Anstie used Fox in 2018 again. Look at that. That's all tying in nicely. And 2013 on Suzuki?
Yeah, I've been around the block.
You have been around.
Everything, to be honest, which I actually don't like. I would love to have just... I'm hoping that I've still got some years left, and I'm hoping that I can just stick with one thing. I like having the same sort of thing around me.
You're almost
like stars, to be honest.
You're almost like the paddock slut.
Thanks. Yeah, well, I've been around the paddock in GPs every year for a lot of years. I changed bikes, and it's
this is technically. The first time that you had consistency in your program was HEP, which was 11 years into your pro career. Because the one time you stayed on the same team in GPs, which was Husqvarna, again, 2017 to 2018, it was an all-new bike.
Well, Dixon as well, same thing, went from Kawasaki, Yamaha to Kawasaki.
Yeah, but
same thing.
You could argue you were on Ice One Husky for 2 years, but the second year was an all-new bike. So technically, you still didn't get the benefit of stability. But look at you now.
No, I know.
Entrenched into Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing and making use of that incredible YZ250F from our friends at Yamaha Motor USA. What a steed. What a steed. So the 250 race was honestly quite boring. Let's just call a spade a spade. Hammaker, Hampshire, Vial were fairly evenly spaced the entire time. Hampshire made a couple of runs, but made some big mistakes in the whoops.
It did look like whoever got... I mean, Hammaker did very well to... first lap was aggressive, got around Nate, who was also riding great. But they was... those four... I would say... those four. Where it was whoever sort of got out front would have won, really.
Yeah, I said this to Ian Harrison after the race. Technically, a lot of people are saying it was a bad race for Vial because he was off the back of his title threats or title rivals. But I feel like it was all down to track position. And had Vial whole shot...
Yeah, it was. It was track position to... I mean, again, I'm not taking anything away from because Hammaker was riding great. None of them were doing anything different. None of them were skimming the whoops. So they were all sort of getting... I can't really remember what they were doing for the first set, but they were sort of just getting through the first set. They were skimming the first set, but... I think that, and then the second set were jumping, but it was, they all sort of followed and just did the same thing as each other. Again, no one was going on to that table off after the second set of whoops. So it's hard. If you're all doing the same thing, they're all very, very good riders, so they all stayed very similar. It's tricky situation. Obviously. Rather be out there, but is what it is.
Well, what do you think about this? Hammaker's obviously at the dog pound now, and one of the big focuses from Michael Byrne, Dazzy, everyone down there has been focusing on his body positioning, technique, almost his shoulder position and stuff like that to make him less prone to crashing. How hard must it be to change essentially the way that you are on a bike at all times? Even down to the most minute details. Because obviously it's second nature, isn't it? Your style is your style. For instance, if I said to you this, over the next 2 months, Max, me and you are going to work hard on changing essentially your style. Your body positioning, your style. Would you be like, oh yeah, that'll be easy? Or would you go, fuck, that sounds like a task?
nothing's easy at this level to make improvements. But if you told me, or if Brayton told me, or if I don't know, someone said, "Oh, yeah, you're like I've been working a lot on keeping my toes in, like through the whoops." I mean, I tore my Achilles a few years ago, so I tend to um like if I grip with the back heels of the heels more of my bike going through the whoops, and it actually turns my toes out of touch. But I'm like, oh, that's weird because I feel like I'm gripping more, but I grip more with the back instead of gripping like front. Again, just the way that I do it. But I've been working on trying to do that because maybe there is a benefit to it. Um, I think anyone that wants to be anyone wants to be better is always working on trying to find that extra bit. Deegan does it all the time. He's always looking and searching for things. I know Jet and Hunter are always trying to pick their stuff apart to be better, and that's what makes it is like, oh yeah, you are the way that you are, but I wouldn't have been able to learn Supercross the way that I have if I wasn't open to figuring out whoops or figuring
Okay,
out
how about
things
this
like
then,
that.
though? So you watch footage of you in 2013, which was
Yeah, I look completely different.
the end of. Oh, you see a real difference in
Yeah,
what in everything?
yeah. Oh, it's fucking sloppy. Elbows are all down and like, oh,
Did you
it's
look?
not nice.
Did you look almost like unconfident? Like, did it look like you were always
Yeah.
like bracing, like trying to stay safe, essentially?
I tell you, someone who's looked the same for a long time is Jeffrey. Jeffrey's looked very like when I
Bulldog.
raced him on 250s. Yeah, he was, and
Well, you'd say the same
I
about
would even
Tomac, wouldn't
say
you?
no,
Jeffrey
but
and
I'd say
Tomac are similar.
his style. Tomac rode differently on a 250. I felt like, um, to an extent, but yeah, they do ride very similar. But they're obviously it works. I think though, like you say, when I watch myself back from like Detroit or even Tampa, even to the last few years, I see a change in the flow and the style. Again, it comes when you're out in front. It makes things a bit. It always looks nice. But yeah, I do think there is always things. I think the day when you stop trying to elevate or be better or think about like I'm thinking all the time, which I mean, some people say I overthink, but like I'm either thinking about the bike or how I can maybe even this weekend. So my biggest takeaway was I need to get better at jumping the whoops next year because I'm really good at skimming, but I need to get better at jumping. Now I'm like my gears feel a little bit short when I'm jumping, so I'm thinking about gearing and thinking about how I could possibly change the bike to help jumping in the whoops. But then there's also a technique side of it, like what does Coop and J Coop do? How do they execute? And I've literally been at the track. I'm not afraid to ask questions. I've been at the track. I mean, after Indy, and I literally sat down. We were in between motors. I said, on the site lap, like, did you know exactly where to go going into those routes? Because you executed them so well. How do you do that? And he gives me a few pointers and this and that. I mean, I'm always open to learn no matter what situation I'm in. And I think that for Hammaker, the environment down there at 83 or the dog pound, whatever it's called now, is is very nice. Like it's a cool environment. Everyone's open to. I mean, obviously it's been a few years, but to learn, to grow, to be better. Everyone helps each other out, and I like that. I really do think that that's it's obviously working. It's working very well for him. So it's different. Our setup, like here, I've had the best of both worlds. Our setup at the farm is very much competition, right? We're all, I wouldn't necessarily say people are helping each other out, but it's still racing. And it elevates yourself, but you've got to be able to then look at yourself and look at where you think you can improve to try and work on things yourself. And Christian Craig, while he was injured, was really good at picking points up, and that's why Deegan got him involved, I guess, early on, was to try to upgrade the skills, to upgrade the level. So it all goes hand in hand. So I think whatever Seth's doing is working great. I think it's going to be a good last couple of rounds.
Do you have a pick for the championship. Technically, you can pick because there is no Yamaha rider involved in the fight. So technically, you're allowed to choose one.
Even though I don't know any of them. I don't know any three of them. I don't really know Tom, RJ, or Seth. It's weird. Like when you're in the championship, it's weird. You sort of like, I spoke to RJ last year when I was on the other coast. Like about he seems like a really good guy. Seth as well seems really respectful, really nice. Tom as well. I've spoken to him a little bit here and there, but it's weird when you're in the sort of championship. You don't. It's like I'll speak to other people, but you sort of don't really mix with them. But I feel just from last year, RJ again has been under pressure coming down to this last situation where it's if it comes down to Salt Lake, I'd say RJ because he did it last year, and that's got to give you something. And he is like Seth is riding great, and Tom. There's got to be. He's fantastic at being consistent. There's got to be a thing though of like, God, I've got to win one of these, really.
Yeah, but see, if I was in his corner, I would be telling him to, because he is saying that a lot. Like when I interviewed him on press day, he was like, I just want to win a race. I just want to win a race. But if I was in his corner, I would be like, it's time to let that go. Because let's not jeopardize championship. But let's not jeopardize championship because you're so focused on winning a race that you throw away a race and therefore the championship. If 2-2 across the next 2 rounds gets us a championship, we'll take that. Don't throw that away because you're trying so hard to turn that 2 into a 1, you know? Do you not agree?
I do. Look at me. I won the first race, felt like I won the second race. On paper, I didn't win the second race, so it's like, great. Crashed round 3 and 4, not happy, feeling like, oh, shit, I've got some work to do on the softer tracks, was a bit off it. Birmingham, right, I need to let's go, let's stamp this down. I need to be like back at the top again. Crash, broken leg.
Yeah, you really fucked that up, didn't you?
Yeah, and I've not been in that situation before where, like, I've had the red plate before, but the red plate last year, I felt like I kind of lucked into it last year. I was like, oh yeah, it was great, it was fantastic, and I was consistent.
You were like that
I wasn't
meme
faster.
Of the guy taking a job interview or whatever. You know, those handshake meme? No? Okay. No, not that. I don't know what that means. No, that's the Spider-Man meme. Someone will know. The office meme.
I haven't seen that one. Okay. Anyway, but like last year, I didn't feel like I was going to straight up win. Whereas this year, I was like, especially after the first round, I was like, this is mine now. I need to just win it. Not win every race, but I need to be on the podium. I need to keep, just keep going. And then when it went a little, and it's weird because the first round felt so easy. Second round was going so easy until it didn't. And then after that, it was like crash on press stage, stress. And then it's like almost executed the start in Daytona, could have had a nice ride, crashed on the second turn, bang. And then it's like, right, I got through Indy and was like, well, I wasn't happy, but right, let's confidence takes a bit of a hit. And then it's like, right, let's come back out and hammer. And you end up crashing. But I actually felt like I was in the position to win the championship. So, or like I was arguably the best or one of the best guys there right then at that time. And I'm out. So a lesson to learn from that is, yeah, it's just important to not take the bait with it, which I feel like it's really hard for Vial. I mean, he crashed last week in the heat race. That was big with that quad. Maybe he wouldn't have jumped that. Like, I don't think RJ jumped that quad all day.
Yeah,
he jumped that quad probably because he was like, fuck, I need to show that I'm the best. I'm number one. I need to show. And it's like, fuck, he ends up going down. It's like, I mean, came out of it still fine. You're in a great spot, but it must be a hard place mentally. I feel like RJ has came in injured, and he's like, I feel like RJ doesn't feel that. I feel like RJ feels like, right, if it comes down to Salt Lake, I've got you because I've done this before. He's good in Salt Lake, and he's going to, but then Seth is executing his starts very well. He's doing very, very well. But you can see how track position changes things. Like last week with the East-West shootout, Cole was able to move through him. You could see the championship guys were tight. They were all not flowing, not feeling it. Seth was out in front, then they red flagged it. That must have been stressy. Then he switched back and forth from where he was to then getting fourth. It can go just like that. So it's going to come down to this weekend. Again, I'm not in the minds of those guys, but it's still a cool position to be in, isn't it? Being in the championship. I'd like to be there, apart from sitting at home.
Well, you're doing this.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be doing this if you were racing. RJ News, I spoke to him after the race. That wrist is still a problem. I can't remember the exact. I wish I should have written it down because it would have been very interesting to get your thoughts again on what he said about his suspension changes this week. But I can't remember. So we've missed out on that because I didn't do a good job preparing. But basically, his wrist is still a massive problem. And he said that every time he tried to make a run at Seth, the wrist held him back. They made massive suspension changes this week to try and accommodate his speed and wrist, or lack of wrist strength. And he didn't say as much, but he basically danced around it and alluded to the fact that he won't race outdoors, and after Salt Lake, he will have surgery to get the plate taken out of his wrist, because I guess the plate is what's causing the issue. He didn't say that, but if I'm inferring, basically what he said was, he said after Salt Lake we'll have a plan. So basically, listeners,
I watched 2023 where he won the first motor at Pala the other day, and I was like, "Oh, he's going to be fast outdoors." So,
well, he was also racing a 450 max, so wrong class.
Oh,
yeah,
no, RJ.
Yeah, this year he's racing 450 outdoors this year.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't even think of that. Yep. I was thinking 250s, but okay.
This is the end of his 250 career. 450 outdoors, 450 SMX, and then 450 full-time next year.
He's done very well this championship. I still think he... Oh, I don't know. I'd like to see Seth do it because I feel like PC have had a rough run, and I just see the vibe from Seth feels very he's very respectful, and I know he's worked with some of the same people that I have on the mental side of things, and he but RJ as well, like he also seems like with the family and the kids and all that stuff, like I can relate to that and know how much championship would mean. So and then Tom, again, I don't really know him that well, but yeah.
I pick Seth now just purely because he has the momentum. I've kind of been waiting for him to prove to me that he can string together a season, and essentially, apart from Detroit where he had food poisoning, he's been ridiculously solid. I don't know if I can recall a single mistake or misstep that he's made, so that gives me confidence that he'll take this all the way. But I definitely think that RJ has the speed advantage, and RJ's probably the best rider in this championship fight. But I think that Seth isn't that far off speed-wise and maybe is more solid.
It's hard because Seth absolutely smoked him in qualifying. Like, he rode well good in practice this weekend, like really good. And I was like, and he was flowing brilliant. Like, I was like, I don't think I could go any faster than that. That was like perfect. I was like, but then it's hard to replicate that into the race. He was very good. But yeah, RJ looked really good too, but he was a second off in qualifying. Again, if the wrist is hurting, 2 sets of whoops probably didn't help. This weekend, they've only got 1 set of whoops. It's more traditional, I suppose, a bit of a weird split section after the whoops. It'll be interesting.
It's so weird.
Have they ever raced in Pittsburgh before?
No, it's the first time ever, and apparently it's going to be amazing because the ticket sales are like through the roof, and this is going to be the
See
best.
what the dirt's like. It's going to be new for everyone. Dirt, but these east, north, whatever it is, whatever they call
Northeast.
it, this is good for Hammaker because they are. I mean, I remember Philly last year. The fans were going mad for him. So up there, all that area, like it's going to be giving him like a bit of a.
Yeah, but I don't know if you want that.
Home.
If this is your first time being in a championship fight, do you
now
want
he's won
more
a
pressure?
Race, though, like winning the race this weekend will be like. It's not pressure. It's like, yeah, come on, let's fucking go. Like, I'm at home. Let's. If you're feeling a little shitty, like if you're ill, if you're not feeling it great on the track, or you're a bit like, that'll help you a bit. Whereas if no one really cares about you, like, oh, you don't have any fans, but you're not like gelling with the track, you're like, it doesn't, like, if you're not feeling great, but it's like home GP, sometimes you can be like, oh, fuck, I feel a bit shit. I'm not, but fans, fuck, I've got to go a bit faster. I've got to see what else I can do. Like, obviously on days when it's going well, it can only help you again. But I think after the win, it'll be, it'll be good. It's interesting. They're all, it's been interesting. Mate, what about Hymas's crash? God, that was not nice. Like, landed, just, front flip.
Yeah, I don't really understand how it happened. Like, it was really violent. And I only watched it quickly on my phone. Like, I didn't really study it. But it didn't look like he necessarily made a massive mistake.
Did not expect that. So he clipped it a little. You notice that's why Barsha in the 450, he was seat bouncing out to go high, to get down the backside, because you had to be very gentle because it was washy. So, and that's why at the end Chase went double single, because obviously you felt like it could be one of those where you obviously he did what he did, but maybe he was obviously thinking about the guys. There was a few guys around him. He probably expected to just land and go into that little berm on the outside. It looked like he may be not relaxed, but like almost like
lost concentration.
Like, what, it wasn't like just almost relaxed, like almost went like like it's gonna be fine. And the bars just went like that. Like, it just, like, he's obviously on the front brake too. So he landed on the front brake and it just, I don't know. It was not nice. Either way you put it.
Well, and then add in his ghost ride from qualifying. And if a ghost ride taught me, go on.
Did the lap time count?
Yeah, I think it did. I actually looked into this. I think it was his second fastest lap of the session.
Oh, okay.
I mean, maybe if it was his fastest, maybe they would have deleted it.
I know. I was like, that'd be amazing, because he was obviously on a hot lap. I was like, imagine if it went pole just like that.
But what that really taught me is that the Yoshimura power on his Honda HRC progressive machine is so incredible that the bike can just do things without the rider, and that's the sort of power you need on your bike.
Is it Yoshimura or Yoshimura?
I don't know. I've been getting a lot of heat from this.
Yosh.
I think as Europeans we say Yosh, don't we? And Americans say Yosh. Or is it the other way around?
The comments of this, I honestly don't know, but I used to run Yoshimura.
On what, Garibaldi?
No, Suzuki HB.
Oh, really? Oh, look, you've used all the sponsors then, apart from...
I had their pedals as well.
So we just need to figure out if you ever used Decal Works, and then you've run the set of this podcast. Yeah, you must have. Maybe Rocky Mountain or something, I don't know. But head to Yoshimura or Yoshimura-rd.com to see what's available for your bike and jump on board. Obviously, Yoshimura also killing it in MXGP with Tim Geiser. Yoshimura went 1-2 in the MXGP qualifying race in Switzerland yesterday. So Yoshimura, worldwide proven. Thanks to them, Decal Works, Yamaha Motor USA, MotorX and Fox Racing for all of their support of this podcast. A couple of quick notes from 250s. Faulkner was much improved. Basically, it all came from the fact that he had more aggression than he's had as of late. And I think that was obvious in qualifying the heat race and the main event. He was comfortably in fifth. Sorry?
Must have been a bit scary, that crash again.
What, in the main event or in the heat?
I don't know, whenever he did the little 360 thing.
Yeah, it was actually quite similar, wasn't it, to the big one? Like a miniature version of that.
Yeah, maybe it's the arm, still the hand, struggling to hold on. 'Cause that was,
Yeah, I only heard
oh,
about this weekend that there's like some sort of similar to AC issue there. I don't think I knew about this.
I don't know, but I remember when he did that big crash, the big one when
Yeah.
he was leading the championship last year. It was his hand was weak, and then in that situation, like over, because I think he, did he go 3-2 too far, maybe 2-3?
Are you talking this year
Little
or
bit
last year? Like
when
today,
he crashed
yesterday or last
yesterday.
year's crash?
When he crashed yesterday,
Yeah.
it was like heavy, and he did the same thing at that one round where he hit the concrete.
Like
went like
he
too far
lands and
click, and then
his like arms
yeah,
almost don't support him. Like he leans in.
yeah, it's like one arm is weaker than the
Yeah.
other. So in that instance where you need to be like solid, okay, maybe then you just fucking back out, hit the brakes, and stop, and just double. But obviously that's really, really, really hard to do. And in that situation, you're probably like, oh, I'm going to be fine. And then it's obviously not, it's weak. And then, so obviously great. He didn't get hurt and he's able to keep racing. So there was improvements there. I definitely think that would have been a little bit like, come on, I need to let's just keep making it through.
I think
So
he also got arm
fantastic
pump
for that.
just because he hasn't been up front really at all this year. So naturally, that's a process in itself
Yeah.
just to get used to that again. Cullen Park was amazing again in fourth. He's really been the breakthrough star this year. Nate Thrasher was fourth but got docked one position because he cut
Why?
out. He crashed in the turn between the two sets of whoops, and then for some
Oh,
reason
again.
rode between the like instead of doing the second set of whoops, he just rode straight between them, and I don't know why. So he was docked for gaining an off-track advantage, but he looks good actually.
Yeah, no, he did look really good.
And then-
yeah, Nate looked good.
The only other thing from 250s is that amazingly, they lapped seventh in a dry race. That's
2 sets of whoops.
with 51 second lap times or 52 second lap times as well. That's quite something. But yeah, maybe it's down to the
Whoops
whoops.
and the rhythms were tricky there, and yeah, it was tricky, wasn't it? Interesting point that I just thought of because you were talking about maybe Cooper Webb going back and changing some stuff this week. I was talking to my mechanic in qualifying, and he was like, "Oh, doesn't Chase's bike look soft in qualifying?" And I was like, I haven't really thought about it too much, but yeah. Then I saw on the TV that they said Chase hasn't touched a clicker. And it
Yeah, he
obviously
didn't
worked
touch
brilliant
anything
for
all
the
day.
night show. So it was like that style worked great for the night show. Maybe it wasn't as good in first practice and second practice when it was like wet and sticky and rutty, but for the night show it was obviously perfect. But man, it's so hard to know the direction of where to go. And I always felt like I was on the softer side, but then I went stiffer more for the Indy after Indy.
Yeah.
I was like, it's interesting the way that the bikes work and like you said, RJ, that's impressive to be able to like, because I find it very mentally hard when you're in Supercross, like finding that like small percent when you're changing stuff on the bike all the time, because it's like really hard to, even if you don't feel right, it's like hard to trust. And then I heard Highness was changing shocks and all that all the time, but then the heat race he was obviously great. So yeah, it's tricky. There's a lot more going on behind the scenes. There's a lot more to the puzzle. There's a lot more to the puzzle than just what you see on TV of the guys, like the actual finished product of, I won the race. But there's so much more going on behind the scenes with everything. And that's what's hard when you're not in there and you don't really see that.
Let's do this because I actually wanted to ask you this, and then we've come full circle. I could liken you to Cooper Webb in the East Rutherford main event because ultimately Chase was the best rider. You can't really say that, but Chase was the best rider on the night. He was the fastest rider. The best rider won. That was quite clear. They started 1-2. Chase really broke Webb. You've been in Webb's position a few times in your career early on, chasing, if you'll pardon the pun, chasing her, you like that? Chasing Hurlings. And then like in a similar position to Webb where you're just like, I don't have anything for this guy. And you kind of have to decide between like, do I go over the line? Do I just accept second? Do I try to learn? Like that whole process. So I can see distinct similarities between you chasing Hurlings and Webb chasing Chase. Chase being the Hurlings in this situation. Anything you can recollect from that scenario of what it's like to be in the chaser position?
Only that I was never actually in front of Jeffrey in the championship. So it was like, whether it was Dutch Championship or British stuff or Hawkstone or GPs, I did always seem to like, I was never in front. So it was like, okay, I'm going to take my medicine today. You were faster than me, but I'll get you next week. Because it was like, okay, I just want to be closer, than 20 seconds or fucking however much you used to beat me by all the time. A lot sometimes, Dutch Championship, a lot. And yeah, I'd be second. It was mad. It always taught me to continue to try and be better. And obviously, if he wasn't there, maybe I would have settled a little bit more. I do think it's made me who I am now, like still good at this age. Like I always feel like I'm still getting better. I'm definitely like, maybe I'm matured later than others. I don't know. Like I'm growing still now, and I feel like there's no reason why I can't go for another 5 years. I know people just like to point out your age and think, oh, yeah, it's too old and this and that, but everyone's maturing at different ages, different stages, and learns at different points. I feel like, I mean, for me, it was just like in GPs, Jeffrey would set the benchmark. And to be perfectly honest, I've been around enough people. Like I've seen the Jeffrey vibe. Oh, he's unbelievable. Oh, it's just the Dutch people. Unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. And Deegan.
You saying that just got me the Vulcan Swallow commentator.
Unbelievable. Yeah, exactly.
Jeffrey Hurlings. There's only 1% of the people listening to this podcast will get that, but someone will, and it'll be great. Basically, the same Dutch commentator did the Dutch GPs every year, and obviously we couldn't understand him. But every single time, like Hurlings would just be racing, and he would just go, Jeffrey Hurlings, for some reason.
But then it is a little bit like, I watched Arco, obviously, and then the Italian, the Caroli, I didn't do the Caroli. And it's like, if I go exactly the same. It's mad.
I just like that. It's like Santa.
But then it's a bit like getting, what's it, matey from Matterley?
Roger Warren.
Roger Warren, yeah. It obviously must be the similar thing for the fans. But no, where I was going with that was like no, I can't really remember where I was going with that.
Oh, sorry.
you sidetracked me.
Let's end on this, because we do. I was joking before. We do care about you. How's the injury?
It's easy to try too hard. Let's put it that way. And then make a mistake. Like I used to find in GPs, I would be on Jeffrey would be like the marker, right? So it would be like, Pakistan 150. I'll be at 153. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I can't feel like I can go any faster. So it would be, and I still believe I can win championships. I still believe I can win races. I still believe I'm nowhere near where I want to be. And I was always like, fuck, how do I? And so I would find myself riding too hard or trying too hard in GPs and then not even getting second. But then when he left, or like, not when he left, when he got injured, because we turned 450 at the same time, but when he was injured and not there at the races, I would like win majority of those races. It was either me or Franz.
Yeah.
I was like, what's happened? Like, why can I win when he's not there? But then when he's there, I'll try extra hard and fuck it up and get a fifth or sixth or fourth, or whatever, not be there. Like I could win on hardpack and in the sand when he wasn't racing. That's where it's different from the Chase and Coop thing, because Coop's leading the championship. He's like, right, but it is easy to maybe step to, like if someone's pulling away from you, it's easy to step too far.
Well, yeah,
Like, gotta
you talked
have
about
mental strength.
You talked about the other side of it, of like Coop maybe backing off a little bit to let Chase be alone and maybe get lost in his mind a little bit. But there's also a side where Chase could be like, let me see if I can tempt him to try and hook on here. Like, I'm going to push that a little bit more just to see if I can tempt him into a mistake. Like, maybe I can push him past his limit, but obviously Coop is too smart.
There is a lot of games. There is games there with that. I mean, and I find the like the hype or the same sort of vibe. I mean, Jet has it. Jet has the aura, and you can tell that, like, when Jet's there, people try extra hard, almost make it worse and mess it up. Deegan's a little similar. Like, I was obviously around. I wasn't racing him in Supercross this year, but he has the raw speed and the vibe of like, fuck, you have to do something special to beat him. You have to try extra hard. So it's like, oh, hold on, no, you just need to focus on yourself. Like, that's where I think with Chase and with Webb and what I've learned over the years, and it's still hard. Like, it is hard. It is hard being under the tent, even with Deegan last year in outdoors, and even Indy this year. It was like a direct comparison of lap times. I wasn't feeling great, and it's like, hold on, no, I need to fucking focus on myself here, because I can't get myself drugged down a path of feeling bad or going around in circles. I need to just focus on what's important for me. But it is a game. It is hard, and it is being able to recognize that. But when you're younger, it's easy to get roped into trying too hard and then maybe crashing. So, it's tricky, but yeah.
That's where it is a delicate balance, because ultimately it would be so much easier if you could just say to Coop, you don't need to really get involved, but he does need to get involved because it is still winner takes all. It's very delicate because Chase needs to win them all, but there is still a need for Coop to get involved.
You know what I just thought of? So I've had to do opening show a few times, right?
Yep.
With top 3 and 250 class, whatever. But it's really, I wonder what it's like when sometimes you're in the tunnel, and I've seen it. Okay, hold on. Who had beef? Is it Anderson and Barsha?
Well, yeah, Anderson and Barsha. Oh, yeah.
They've had...
Good bet.
I was in the same tunnel, and them two are waiting for opening ceremonies to get just them two in the tunnel. I'm like, I wonder if it's Chase and Webb. Like, I wonder if shit's been said. Like,
I'd imagine you don't flinch, do you? You just stare into space.
You know that what Coop said to Jeffrey on fucking 2016 thingy, are you ready for a battle? Or ready?
Yeah.
Like, dude, so like, yeah, you don't, like, Tomac is always earplugs locked in, doesn't say much. But like Anderson and Barsha being down there, I mean, I don't think they really spoke to each other, but like, you think, fucking hell, it's a behind the scenes thing that you don't really see, because it's like you're in the tunnel and you're like maybe walking with them, or like you pass each other, but it's only you two around. Like, that's a bit strange, because no cameras there's no one around. Like, maybe there is a few little bits and bobs going on back there, like people like to do it in front of the cameras and play up, but like, I don't know. I don't know.
That's where I think, again, going back to Cars 3, which has taught us both a lot in our lives, I think that's changed my outlook. Whereas if I was Chase and let's say Webb did sit next to him on the line and said, are you ready for a battle? Whereas I think your instinct would be to stay just ignore him. You know, like your mum told you at school when you're being bullied, which happened to both of us, Max. We weren't like, just ignore him. Just ignore him. I actually think the play is to just look back and go, nervous, mate. You know, like I don't think the play is to just ignore, because I think that's almost like weakness. You've got to, which I guess Chase kind of did with the gun last week. You've got to kind of like get your elbows out as well and be. I think that would be as I've progressed in life and learnt more about, I think I would. I don't think the move.
I would take it as a compliment.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to. You can't.
I'm like, fuck yeah.
Whereas like Jeffrey, who is very, very mentally strong, he said that in Charlotte he was like, Yeah. Whereas I don't think that's the move, because that's if he can see that he's. I mean, who knows? He may not do this, but in those situations, Coop or whoever's doing it, if they can see that they've got the reaction they wanted, that's box ticked in their mind. But if they don't get the reaction they want, it's more like, what? Oh, that's odd. Oh, didn't expect that. Got to get your elbows out. But anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. It's very interesting. There's a lot of different things that I've learned this year. Um, yeah, a lot of things. I don't know. That's cool.
I think we're done. I've kept you for far longer than I said. And to be honest, we could go a lot longer. I wanted to talk to you about outdoors. And you still didn't tell us, or do we not care? How's your knee, leg?
It's all right. No, it's not my knee. It's my
No,
leg.
I forget.
It's
It's
all
not
right.
important
It's
to me. I
4
forget.
weeks. 4 weeks now. Didn't have to have surgery. I'm doing most things in the gym. I'm swimming a lot. Cycling. I cycled outside for the first time this last week, but it did hurt cycling. I'm all right. Sat down. So when I stand up, it hurts. It's only the fibula. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's a bit annoying, obviously, sitting around not doing a lot. I've sort of got over the whole initial stage, and I'm like, ugh. I can walk around the house, okay. I can walk limping a little bit now, but I can still walk okay. But I've got 5 weeks until Pala, um, so we'll be all right. I mean, I honestly think if I had to ride, you could painkiller me up, and I could strap it up and try and ride. But there's obviously no point in coming back for Supercross. I think that's the whole team's. So there's no point. Even if I'm riding before Salt Lake and I'm like happy, there's still no point in really doing that. I don't think. But I mean, you never know what situation the team could pull me into. But as far as it goes right now, the plan is Pala, and yeah, just getting prepped and ready for that. So I've got 5 weeks. If I was originally trying to ride this week on a turn track, the team pushed me back. They were like, no, we want to make sure, we take our time. Let's not rush it, which I completely agree with.
Is it Swanee that makes that decision? Or everyone?
No, a bit of a group. It was actually the engine guys, crew chief, Trevor. I spoke to him a bit about it, and it was like, I hate to say it, but the team have had a lot of experience with people getting injured. So,
every team has.
Yeah, so they do, and I did say to him, like, I'm sat at home, I'm bored, I kind of want to ride, but is that the right thing to do right now? Probably not. So we're at 4 weeks, middle of 5 to 6 weeks. At 6 weeks, the doctor said they're going to clean me to ride. I mean, I'm going to get another X-ray and see, but they don't even think that, like, this fibula might not even be healed by then, or even close to being healed. It can take ages, or it might not even heal at all. You don't even necessarily need that bone. It's like everything around it will work just fine. But it hurts right now. So it's like the tolerance goes up and the pain goes down. It's a strange one, because it's not like I didn't do anything to my ankle or to my knee. It's literally just that bone. So yeah, give it a couple more weeks, and then I'll get on the bike and be rolling into Pala. All right, I probably won't be at 100% body wise, but I'm so glad that I did a lot of time last year on the bike already, on outdoors, really did all the testing that I needed to do. And I mean, everyone riding Supercross right now isn't exactly getting loads of time on outdoors. So it's not like I'm missing that much. All right, I'm not missing I'm missing racing on Supercross, but I'm not missing much of outdoor stuff. And I did the Nations. I did a lot of time testing before the Nations. So I'm going to basically just go with that setup for the first few rounds and see where we are, which I think we're going to be in a much better spot than where I was last year. So I'm fine with that until I get back up to speed, like back up to not even speed, back up to like no pain or whatever, and then we'll go from there. So yeah, be all right.
Lovely job. Thank you for doing this, and once again, I'm very proud of you for not letting your jealousy about the fact that I have moved on from you and forgotten about you get in the way of your words. You're a bigger man than most, and
well,
I wish you well in the rest of your life. Maybe we'll cross paths. Maybe we'll cross paths at some point. No,
until the next podcast that you need me to come on.
Have you enjoyed it? I mean, it's way longer than I said it would be, and I don't really understand how
long has it been? I can't even see
an
how
hour
long
and 40 minutes.
Yeah,
it's the longest one I've done all year. And to be honest with you, I feel like we could keep talking, but it's been fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully the people enjoyed it. Thank you, of course, again to Yamaha Motor USA for bringing us Max Anstie, Decal Works, Motorex, Yoshimura, and Fox Racing for all of their support. I will be back next week to discuss Pittsburgh, which looks likely to be a mudder. Maybe we'll have Max Anstie back at some point. But for now, I've been your host, Lewis Phillips, and I will see you in 7 days' time to discuss round 15. Thanks for watching.
Cheers.
That's jazzy. Yep. For podcast listeners, somehow Max has just set off fireworks, which is the best way.
I just put my thumbs up and fireworks went off. So I don't know, how does it do that?
I don't know, but we're done. Thanks for watching, everyone, and thanks for watching and listening, everyone. And we will see you next week.